Hey, and welcome everybody to this new episode. Today we will be focusing on remote property management. I know for myself, deal flow wasn't really possible where I live because of the prices. So the properties were just not cash flowing as well as if you were looking a little bit further. So that's what I did. And one of the hurdles was psychological. And also I invested in a tertiary market, so it was difficult to find property management, so I had to do it myself, but it wasn't impossible. We live at an age now where you have resources that really make it easy to keep track of what's going on and interact with be it the contractors, the tenants, and so remote property management, remote investing remotely is a possibility. Lots of people do it, and I do it. And I live in Canada and I have investments in the US, and that's all thanks to investing far away. And there's nothing wrong with it, and it's really doable.
Absolutely, yeah. And the level of management required in these assets is going to be highly dependent upon what you buy and what you're going after. So a property that has, if you buy a big warehouse and Amazon's leasing it from you for a 15-year lease, absolute triple net, meaning they take care of taxes, insurance, maintenance, everything, you're not going to have a whole lot of management. You could probably buy one in Hawaii and one in Texas and one all over. If you buy a self-storage facility, if it's big enough, you might have an office there and you're managing that person that's working in that office. So you have an employee basically. If you get a small enough one, you're probably going to have to either hire an outside company, or you might have to have some sort of boots on the ground there to manage that, because it may not be big enough to support a full-time person. But as Aurélien said, there are ways to do it remotely, depending on what you're doing and depending on the asset class you're in. I think it's probably becomes a little bit easier when you're dealing with longer term leases, things like RV and boat storage that could be monthly, month to month, constantly, or things that are like self storage that are monthly, where you have a lot of tenant turnover constantly, maybe a little bit more management intensive. But if you're getting into office or retail or anything like that, office, retail, industrial, you're going to get leases that are long term, and it's going to become much easier. Most people are comfortable with dealing with electronic payments. Most people are comfortable with signing electronically. So you can do a lot of the things that are not ordinarily, 10, 15 years ago were not exactly as easy to do. You can do a lot of them digitally now.
Yeah, and I find when I handle situations like that far away, for example, and if you want to manage yourself to save on the management fee, it's good to start with small projects, and that's also management and leadership. Start with small projects, get confident, start trusting the person, the contractor, whoever it is you're working with, and then little by little you can entrust them with a larger, more important tasks that are more important for your business. But yeah, start with smaller assignments to check them out and see how well they work out.
Absolutely. When it comes to property managers, if you are trying to hire a property manager to manage your facility for you, again, I know I keep harping on brokers, and I am one, so I'm a little biased, but contact your brokers, because some brokerage firms will do property management, commercial property management, or some, if they don't, they'll know somebody who does, who can help you with that. So if you absolutely have to have somebody manage the property for you, or you want to have somebody manage the property for you, talk to them, because they're going to know the good ones from the bad ones, and they're going to know, who can truly help you out there. And interview them, interview multiple if you can. As you said, Aurélien, if you're in tertiary markets, don't have property management, becomes a little more difficult. But if you are in a market with multiple property managers, interview them, talk to other property owners, try to get some references from them to see if you can talk to the owners of the properties that they actually manage and see how well they're doing. If you can drive the properties that they're managing, see if they're taking care of them, see if they're keeping up with everything. So there's just a couple little checks you can do to make sure, if you do hire outside and you're not yourself managing it remotely, if you do hire a property manager, some things you can do.
And also, speaking about property managers, they can be a great resource if you're doing your due diligence, because they know if you're investing in industrial and they're managing industrial property, they know about vacancies, they know who's leasing, they know who's doing well, they know which asset type is doing well and which one is not. So they can be a great source of information to get an overview, high level of the market you plan to invest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Use your resources for sure. For sure. Now, when it comes to managing yourself remotely, do you have any tips and tricks for managing yourself remotely?
Well, I like, well, the good thing with the commercial is that it's not that you don't need to do that much compared to residential when I used to do a residential. But yeah, I think in essence, it's the idea of when you do it yourself, it's good, it's good to scale. So you want to scale, and when you do it yourself, take notes of all the tasks you're doing and how you do them and how to best do them, and then make a list, and then you can hire someone to repeat and do those tasks for you instead of you, once you've got a good handle of them. And it reminds me of a book called The E-Myth Revisited by Gerber, and it's Michael Gerber. It's the whole idea of the book is create systems so that you can just be out of your business and your business runs itself.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic book. I love it. It's the industrial engineering nerd inside me loves that type of stuff. Creating these systems and a flow. It's the fast food restaurant that's run all by high school students, and it's because they've created these robust systems that make it easier for people to work in and compete and perform at a high level while they're still, some of them are in high school and they're still able to show up and compete and produce millions of dollars annually, which is just wildly impressive. So create systems for your business that allow you to grow. One of the I'm trying to remember the book, and it might be Michael Gerber's book, and it's essentially trying to create systems that are so simple that literally anybody you hire could do that system, and try to break it down as simply as you can. So it takes a skill that in itself takes a skill of work instruction, creating work instructions and creating processes is a skill in of itself that you're going to have to learn eventually if you want to scale. And it takes time. At some point you start to dig into that, and you start to, on the surface level, you might think, okay, I'm just going to write out what to do. And then it makes sense to you because you've done it 20 times, but someone reading that might have no idea. So it's now you made it the next time. It's like, okay, well, that wasn't good enough. So I'm going to make a visual, or I'm going to make a bullet point list, or I'm going to make a picture, and think about what is the absolute simplest way you can put that someone sees it and just gets it. And so that's really what you're trying to get down to in your systems. But to start with, write it down, just write down exactly what you said, write down what it is you do and how you do it, and go from there.
Yeah. Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining. As always, we've got a podcast the first Wednesday of the month. The second Wednesday of the month, we have a networking event for the True Commercial Real Estate Podcast. We drop one of these every single week on Wednesday morning. So tune in to the channel and check us out on YouTube. Check us out on our Facebook group, True Commercial Real Estate Podcast. And thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Cheers.
All right, everybody.